What's up guys, this is Shala and welcome to another episode of the iherng podcast, and today we will answer some questions from Instagram. This is from Melina Asman. Hi Sean, hope you're doing well. I'm Mel, 31 years old, a wife and a mom to an almost 2-year-old daughter, and I've been working for 7 years now. I am currently staying at Savannah, Southview City. My husband bought this home in 2015 before we got married, and we have been staying here for almost 4 years. Our current monthly household income is almost 12,000, and my husband is paying 1,700 per month for this house, and he has a car loan of 900 per month as well. While I don't have any loans with banks so far, currently using hand-me-down car from my parents, so still I have to pay for insurance, road tax, maintenance and all. So far I only pay for Astro, Kuku, Kowei, and husband is in charge of all utility billings, Chukai Pintu and all. Our plan is to buy a 20 by 70 landed house in Serena City with loans of 500,000 for 35 years under my name. Since my husband already have some loans with banks, we are planning to have more children in the nearest future, so Serena City looks promising in terms of raising a small family with great connectivity and amenities, schools, mosque, parks, and it seems safe compared to staying in a condo. I like to stay with a community with families rather than with next door tenants and students as our current situation right now. We can afford to pay for the booking fee and the deposit if we are buying the house in Serena City. But our biggest concern is, should we buy a landed house knowing that we already have the condo as our first home? Should we buy a landed house now, or should we wait for a few years? Secondly, if we buy a landed house, should we rent or let go the condo? The renting market in Savannah is good as it's near to universities, but if we sell it, the market value of this home is higher than the balance amount we currently have to pay to the bank, so we might get some money at the end to do some renovations to the landed house. We are contemplating and afraid if we make a wrong decision to have more houses with our current income. Afraid that we don't live within our means if we buy a second house. Thank God we currently don't have any financial issues so far. We managed to pay things on time, no pending payments from anywhere, no credit cards. We managed to do some savings for us and for our daughter as well, and we also have some wiggle room to spend some money at the end of the month. Appreciate your advice on this matter, whether buying a second house is wise at this point of time and life. Thank you in advance. Oh, by the way, the house in Serena City is a new project and will be completed in November 2023. In the meantime, while paying for the progressive payment, if we are renting out or sell the condo in Southview City, we do have a place to stay while waiting for the house to be completed in 2023. We are concerned we won't get this much of price for this location if we wait until the next few years. Okay, so Mel, thank you very much for the DM, and just to capture the whole question again, 31 woman, working mom with a 2-year-old daughter, staying in Savannah at Southview City, household income around 12,000, so the husband is paying around 3,000 in installment, left like a good 9,000, and you have the other payments lah. So now should they buy a Serena City landed property around 500,000, and that is around 1,300 to 1,400 in terms of money installments. And then the question is, if they were to buy that house, what happens to the condo? Should they sell it or should they rent it out? Because ultimately the concern is, are they gearing up too much at this current moment? But if they were to wait for another few more years, right, the property might not be at the same price anymore. So first things first, I really like that the first home is not the dream home, and this should be again a demonstration to all youngsters or all couples who are madly in love, who are about to get married, and the proposal house or the house that comes with a proposal ring need not to be fancy, because like Mel, right, she's now thinking of having the second kid, and this is when they are more stable, household income a good 12,000, which is solid. They are having their family expansion conversations, only they start looking for houses while having the first home as an investment mindset. I'm not too sure whether when they get the house, was it with that intention, but it's within their means at least. Because the mindset of having to buy one house only in your entire lifetime is just ridiculous lah. I think as human beings, we should always look forward, look up to better things, be a little bit more positive towards perspective of life, right? Because just like Mel, after staying for 4 years now, she will start thinking that, hey, this house, you know what, I don't think it's a great house to have another kid because spaces are restricted, then the neighbors are a little bit weird. It's a little bit more foreign to community building. And this is usually the case in areas that are more investment focused, because places with great rental returns, right, are usually places that are very high in temporary demand for space. And these people come and go maybe within 3 years, right? You will see a lot of people keep moving out and in, move out and in, out and in. Therefore, you won't really get this community living where, hey, the auntie from opposite that goes to the market, or you go and eat noodles, you will see this another uncle, then you will say hi to each other. How's your kid? How's the study? You wouldn't find in places like that. So when she mentioned that she wants to move out to a more landed community, this is where you will have people staying there for a very, very long time. And for those who don't know, Serena City, it's this project in between Cyberjaya and Nilai, right? So it's opposite Sansura City, next to NKVE. They have their own intersection, but SMW is huge, and the latest launch has been amazing, right? And this is when you start to think about, hey, when people say no money or economy is bad, or is it just me? Because obviously when we look into Elmina, when we look into Serena City, those landed houses launches, right, are very well received. So with that kind of sales status, you will kick in this feeling of FOMO, where like, if I don't buy now, right, what if 3 years later it's no longer this price? Because that's actually what's happening right now. And to me, the main reasons for kind of thinking is, if you are looking for a freehold landed property that is new in Klang Valley, no other places really. The only one closer will be Elmina City side, Bandar Sri Coalfield. Then on the southern side, you have the Rimbayu, you have the Eco Sanctuary, you have the Tropicana Aman. Then a little bit skewed to the side, you have Serena City and Kota Warisan and things like that. So those are the new areas that are building up, and these are the areas that are focusing a lot on landed property, the Nasi Lemak property that a lot of people are looking for. And at the sweet spot between 5, 6 to 800, 900,000 range, right, it's a very, very comfortable range. And in my perspective, Mel, with your current situation of financial condition, I think it's okay to get something, because like you mentioned, the car is passed down by the family, so that's the best. And you guys know entirely what you guys are doing. And with that 500,000 loan, I think it's going to be another 1,200 to 1,300 only in monthly installment. The only thing will be the renovation fees that's going to come out with that, which is going to be around 40 to 60,000 usually for a landed terrace house that is a bit more habitable, so a bit more okay kind of reno, right? It's going to be around that budget. So that would be the goal maybe for the next 2 years before the house is completed, right? So I think personally, based on the context that you provide me, you guys are pretty sensitive about spendings, about budgets, about financial condition, and with that kind of awareness, it wouldn't be wrong, right? So with that, I think it's okay. And after you do that, should you rent out Savannah, the current unit that you're staying, or should you sell it out? Well, that depends on the price that you can get for the unit, and that depends on the rental price that you can get for the unit as well. If the rental can cover the installment, I don't have to worry about the unit. By all means, I will just hold it, provided I don't need any urgent cash. Also provided that I have my sufficient 6 months emergency fund ready, right? So if anything happens to one of the family members, no worries, we got it covered, right? So with those kind of conditions, I think it's more advisable to hold. If you're thinking about the renovation fees, if you're not really comfortable about another installment to be paid monthly, right, then selling off will be that option. So again, the best case scenario in your case will be to get that property that you want in Serena City, then at the same time to rent out the unit at Savannah, and the rental for that Savannah unit can cover the monthly installments, so you don't have to worry about a unit. You only got to worry about every year you got to rent out again, like, because tenancy agreements are usually on a 1-year tenure already. And the unit that you get 2 to 3 years later is perfect, exactly up to your expectation. You just gotta think about the renovation fees, and that can be a goal in terms of your financial planning, as you guys have a little bit more budget in the end of the month, right? So there's a reason to save up for that as well. But on the other side of the picture is when you buy the unit already and something happened to you on your careers, right? It may be that unstable income, it can be a new boss that makes you hate your job, therefore you quit or whatsoever. So in that condition, you receive the keys to your new Serena City unit, and also you have this Savannah unit that you cannot sell nor rent. So you have to pay both sides punya installment. Can you afford it then? If you can stomach this worst case scenario, worst possible scenario ever, then I think you can go ahead. right? Because you can pay up the 1,500 in terms of installment, then you can pay the remaining installment of the Savannah unit as well, so it's around 3,000 plus your car plus everything. It's ngam. It's not too bad. Then I still think that it's within that risk tolerance for myself, right? So this is a conversation that you need to have with your husband. Like, you think about the worst case scenario. As my mom always tell me, to hope for the best and to plan for the worst. As long as we can stomach the worst case scenario with comfort, then go ahead by all means, right? And thank you very much for the DM actually, because this highlights a few things. Number one, which is the one that we mentioned just now, it's best that the first property, may you be a guy or a girl, it's best that you have that first investment within your means that is more investment oriented under your belt before you guys get married, right? So even if you don't get married, there's always something to fall back to. Then the second thing would be the risk tolerant portion, right? Always hope for the best and plan for the worst. Always think about what if the unit cannot rent out, what if the unit you cannot sell, what if. So if you can bear that risk of monthly installments, and if that amount is within your earnings, I think it's still okay to go for that. The third thing as well, a lot of people think that I'm against home purchase for own stay purposes. Not true, right? If you can totally afford it, if it's within your affordability range, if it's within your means, by all means, go ahead, right? You can even own a $17 million mansion, right? To me, it's you have my blessing. If you can afford such a house, who am I to stop you? Just that I was hustling through this scenario where capital is not really on my side. I don't really have a lot of money to begin with. Therefore, this entire journey of property investment that heavily leverage on the financial infrastructure that was provided, and one after another, that is how I start building my portfolio. Therefore, the initial videos that I've made is really based on my understanding from a person who is planning to start property investment with very limited capital. But if you're in abundance for capital, by all means, go ahead, right? But I've encountered too many horror stories about landed property, especially for those that are in the suburbs. So I think we have also came across several emails that are complaining about their property prices dropping when their property are in outskirts area, that there's no demand for rental at all. So after they buy, they renovate very nicely, but they still need to report back to KL. Therefore, they will need to rent another room to be in KL just to be close to work. Then that house they cannot rent out, then it gets damaged, then I need to pay rental here. It's like a double whammy kind of situations. Then they became trapped financially to this work because they want to sell, cannot, they want to rent, then they worry about people damaging their dream home as per se. Therefore, the choice of location that you want to call home becomes very, very important, especially for new townships. So in Sarina City, right opposite, you have the university, you have Kota Warisan, which is a pretty solid kind of town, and it's very close to KLIA. So if this is MCO days, then it's very gloomy. But now since borders are starting to open and you are only going to get your keys 2 to 3 years down the road, I guess things will be back to normal. But when things are back to normal, this 500,000 house, I don't think will be at this price anymore, honestly speaking, right? At this interest rate, at this junction of time where HOC is still available, if you have that sufficient planning, if you have already prepared that amount to upgrade your life, because I do believe context forms content. The environment of your house will definitely contribute to your family upbringing and whatsoever, right? Your kids actually have a padang and neighbors or kids to play with. It's gonna be really different. And with that, I hope the best for you, Mel, and thank you very much for your DM. And for those who still have any real estate questions, do email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me like Mel on Instagram, iherng, or you can also drop your questions on Ask Guru in the Property Guru website. That is where, just in case I do not have the time or I missed out your email, right, there will be other experts who will help you answer your question as well. And with that, thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one. Ciao.